All right. It is 2 o'clock here Eastern Time, so we'll go ahead and get started. We just have a short 30-minute training webinar for you today. We'll be going through our Tag Inspector scan reports, which is the basic reporting that everyone sees when they first log in, be it a free account, be it a paid account, premium, enterprise, custom, whatever it may be. Today, I'll just go through setting up a scan, so some of the options that we have for when you're setting up a scan, some of the advanced options, some of the different use cases for those. I'll go through briefly our tag rules that you can apply to a Tag Inspector scan. Had a longer training webinar about that a couple weeks ago, so I'll just briefly touch on some of those options, how you can apply those when setting up a scan. Go through the process of scheduling scans, which is really simple, just one step in the initiation process. And then finally, I'll actually go through a scan report to go through the results, show you exactly where you can find different things in the reports. As always, if you have any questions at all, definitely just drop a question in the side pane, which for GoToWebinar, which we're using today, should be just on the right-hand side of your screen. And if you have anything else that comes up or a specific question about your account, reports that you're seeing, scans that you're running, definitely don't hesitate to reach out to me. More than happy to help out in any way. Perfect. Tiny little bit of housekeeping that I forgot. I am Lucas, our Tag Inspector product manager. I also help out with some of the consulting, onboarding, ongoing service, and everything. So, like I mentioned, if you have any questions at all, definitely the person to reach out to. So, to get started, what we're looking at here is the standard UI that you will see when you log into your Tag Inspector account. This is where any scans that you've run are going to be housed. Everything's going to be saved here within this main part of the interface, so any past scans. Even if you have a brand new account, if you just registered for a free account, for example, you're already going to have a scan complete or close to complete or running, because when you're creating an account, you're entering in that domain, or automatically queuing up a scan for you on that, just a basic scan. So you'll see this when you log in. On the left-hand side is where you can navigate through some of the different aspects of the scan reporting. You have your view scan results, which is what we're looking at now. Any results that you see, any scheduled scans, so you can see specifics about those, when they'll run next, what domains they're on. So if you have scheduled scans set up, you can see specifics on there. My account is where all your account information, if you wanted to upgrade, for example, you can do that there within that My Account. And then finally, the tag rules area, which we'll get to in here in a minute. From here, if you want to view a report, obviously just click View Report. Anytime you run multiple scans on the same domain, they're going to be aggregated together. Not aggregated together. The results won't be aggregated together, but the different scan reports will be aggregated under the same domain here. So if you ran a scan, for example, for me, Tag Inspector, ran one on November 1st. I have a scheduled scan running on taginspector.com on a monthly basis. If I wanted to go in and see the one from October, I click View Report, and then I can toggle between those within the report. First step, obviously, when coming in and wanting to be able to set up these scans, see different ones, I got to queue it up first. So the first thing that you can do, and where you can find that, up here in the top right-hand corner, Start New Scan. And this will take you to the Create New Scan area. There's 3 steps to starting a new scan. Number 1, entering in the site or the domain. Number 2, some of the advanced options. And then number 3, if you want to and are able to, you can schedule scans there. So step 1, entering in the site, it's just the domain. So if I want to do taginspector.com, I would just enter in taginspector.com. Whatever the domain is, enter it there. If you want to scan just one subdomain of a site, you're going to want to include that subdomain here in the enter the URL you would like to scan area. Why you'll do that, I'll show you here on the second step, but I'll go ahead and do it here for the example. How our system treats this, our crawler, when we're going to build our virtual sitemap to then scan along, the crawler is going to try to and jump to the URL that you're entering here first to initiate that, to start it. So if you're just wanting to do a general full site scan, you would enter in just the home page. It's the best place to start. If you're wanting to just scan one section of the site, enter in a page that is within that section of the site. So we'll start there, speed up the process, make it go a little bit more smoother. Second section here, or right below, specify the number of pages that you would like to scan. This is most likely going to be dictated on your account based upon the package level or subscription level that you're at, but you can set the max here and then proceed on to the next step. Step number two is where we're going to enter in the options and any conditions that we want our scan to follow. So in the subdomain example that I'm using right now, if I want to include other subdomains, which is the default, yes. So if I want to do a full site scan, again, I'm going to check that to include other subdomains. If I only want to scan one section of the site, I'll just uncheck that include other subdomains in the scan area. Second piece here, include HTTPS schema in the scan. By default, that's checked. I typically always say just leave it checked, but you can uncheck it if you only want to scan pages with the HTTP schema. Third option here is to simulate the browser user agent. By default, it will be a Chrome 54 browser that we're going to use as we go through and scan. There are different options here: Internet Explorer, Firefox, Android, iPad, iPhone. The most notable use case here is if you want to scan a mobile site, come down here and choose one of these mobile devices to simulate so that you can simulate the action of the site on that particular browser user agent. We also then have the ability to apply advanced options. Now, no matter what license level your subscription is on, this is by default what you're going to see on step two. If you click advanced options, for any license level, you will have, if you clicked advanced options, the ability to add these rules to scan specific pages, remove query strings, or rewrite URLs. It can be a little bit confusing in the UI just because you have to click that. And then right above here, where applied policy, it's going to say that tag rules and policies and rules are only available starting at the premium package, which is true. But these options down here, these rules or these conditions that you can specify in your scan are available for anyone with a scan account. These three different options scan specific pages. This again is if I just want to scan one section of the site. So in the example that I'm using here, even though I've unchecked include other subdomains, I'm still going to do a URL contains blog.taginspector.com to narrow the focus of that particular scan. Some of the different options I have here: contains, does not contains, equals, does not equal, matches regex, does not match regex. A lot of flexibility here. If you only want to scan one section of the site or one category of pages, you can use the scan specific pages for that. The second option here, to remove query strings from the following URLs. Again, I have those same options: contains, does not contain, regex, does not match regex, equals. What this is useful for, if you have a lot of template pages, so for example, an e-commerce site, you have a ton of product pages, you might only want to scan one page in each section. Now, if the only difference between one product to the next product is a query string that you're adding onto that URL, which is true in a lot of cases, You would specify the type of URL for which you would want to remove those query strings. This can greatly reduce the number of pages necessary to run, in essence, a full site scan. Well, yes, we're not hitting each and every template page, or each and every page. We are hitting each and every template page, which is what obviously each of those individual pages are being built off of. So you're still able to see the full tag behavior and the full tag coverage on a site. Same idea here when where you can rewrite a URL. If you have a lot of different pages built around templates with just one little thing that's different with the URL pattern, I can specify the URL pattern that I want to rewrite and then specify what should be substituted in for that. So I can make all of those URLs uniform. What our system will then do is in the first pass, we'll make those uniform. And then the second pass, when we're actually going through and scanning, we'll just be hitting one of each type of those URLs or the substitution URLs. Again, this can be used to greatly narrow down the scope and greatly help to still see a full site scan and hit all those template pages, but not have to run a 40, 50,000 page scan on the site. The last option down here, clear cookies on every page. By default, that is going to be checked for the only reason that a huge use case, obviously, for using Tag Inspector is to identify, okay, what tags are firing. Some tags will fire conditionally only for new users. Very rarely will you have a situation where a tag will fire conditionally only for returning users. So by clearing the cookies on every single page, it's as if a new user is hitting each page as they go through that process. So we're able to see more tag activity, especially tags that are conditionally firing when that's selected. One other point here, add policy to the scan. What this is and what is the different tag rules that you can apply. So tag rules within the context of the Tag Inspector scan reports, we create here in the side section that I pointed to earlier. What these allow you to do is define either a whitelist of tag activity or a blacklist of tag activity. With a whitelist, our system will see all tags as unauthorized unless specified as allowed. We can also then specify different tags as required, and we can even specify the loading behavior. So I can say that in this example, Adobe Site Catalyst is required. It's required to be loaded through Telium. This is going to kick out an error if Site Catalyst is missing from any page, or if Site Catalyst is on a page but is not loading through Telium. This example here is for a whitelist rule, so I can specify these requirements as well as anything that's allowed. It's also going to flag any tag that is found in a scan result that is not set to allowed here. So this is a compliance example. When I have a tag policy, I know these are the things that are fully vetted by my team that are allowed to be there on the site. These are the things that are required to be loading on the site. Analytics, obviously a very important platform. And what this is going to do is when I schedule these scans, which will show you here in the next step of setting up a scan, it's going to automatically review the results and just alert me or anyone up here listed out in the email alert to section. It's going to send an email alert specifying what unauthorized activity is happening on the site. Fully automate a lot of that ongoing monitoring process. So that is what these rules are. When you create a rule within the interface and you save it, it will then be available here to be added to and applied to a scan. The only thing left to do here is advance to the third and final step, which is scheduling scans. Now, if I want to run it right now and queue it to run immediately, I'll just begin scan. If I want to set this to run at a future date or schedule it for the future, I can click here, specify the date that I want this to be run on. I can also then schedule a recurring scan. So I can say this scan with these options, I want to run daily, weekly, monthly. If I select one of these other options, so weekly, and I click begin scan, it's going to queue and run that scan right now. But then also a week from now, it's going to run another one. Again, super useful here if you're wanting to automate ongoing monitoring. Define your tag policy, define what should be happening, what shouldn't be happening, what's allowed to happen, apply it to the scan, let our system automatically run and just alert you to anything that is unauthorized that's happening on the site. That's setting up the scans. Now, once obviously that's set up, the scan is going to run, and then I'm going to have those results here in my view scan results area. Now, a few little tricks that I can use here. If I run a bunch of different scans and I want to search for a particular domain, I can do that here just with the search bar. Like I mentioned before, to view the results of a scan, just click View Report. My results are going to come up. If I've run multiple scans on that same domain, up here in the top right-hand corner, I'm going to see all past scans that I've ran or have been run on that particular domain. And I can go back and review a past scan that was run. Within the actual scan results, we have a couple of tabs. We have our report overview, as well as report details. And if you've applied a policy to your scan, you're also going to have this policy errors area. In the report overview, which is the first tab here, I'm going to have some scan status. So just a little bit of statistics about the scan that was run, what site was scanned, how many pages, how many tags were found, when exactly it was run, when it completed. Here in the middle, I'm going to see how tags are loaded on the site. So all tags that were found when the scan ran, one, what are they? And they're listed out here, but also how exactly are they loading? Anything here on this first level connected to the first node, which is going to be my domain, these things are loading directly from the page source and are written into the page. Anything loading in these subsequent levels, some scans, depending upon the site, you might see 4 or 5 different levels of piggybacking going on here. But what these tags are doing is they're loading through or piggybacking off of whatever they're connected to. At the bottom, I'm also going to have a tag overview. So I'm going to have a list of all the tags that were found, as well as just the number of pages that they were found on. Very general information there. Most useful piece in this overview is this hierarchy view here for one high-level look. See, is there any unauthorized activity happening on the site? If so, how are those unauthorized tags getting there? The second piece here within the reports is the report details area. So I see 15 up here. That means there's 15 different tags loading on this site. And the tags found, it's going to list out all of those different tags that were found. For each tag, I'm going to see a number out of number of pages. This is going to be the number of pages that this tag was found on out of the total number of pages scanned. So if I run a 50-page scan, and in this case Google Tag Manager is on 50 pages, it's on every single page of the site. Now, for any of these tags, if I want to see specifics about it, so I come down here, HubSpot, I want to see, okay, it's on 42 out of the 50 pages. What pages is it not on? Or how is it loading? I can click on that individual tag, and on the right side here, it's going to bring up specifics about it. So I'm going to get a tag description. So if it's something you're unaware of, click on the tag. We'll give you a description there. I can see exactly how that tag is being loaded. Here we can see HubSpot being loaded directly from the page source. I can see a list of all pages that contain that tag. So I can see, okay, where is this implemented? But I can also see then pages missing that tag. So if it's something that's key, such as my analytics platform, I know it needs to have full site coverage, otherwise it can introduce a whole lot of tracking issues. And I see that it's not, I obviously immediately want to know, okay, where is this tag not located? I can come down here and quickly have a full list of those pages that are missing that tag. Now, one thing to note, in each of these different sections, I can export just the information in any of these sections. Also up here, export all, I can export the raw data for this particular scan. One other piece here that's helpful in how this tag was being loaded, the hierarchy, the visualization is awesome, but if I want to see a list and a stack trace, click on this little area, it's going to show me a stack trace, and then I can export the URLs on which that particular loading behavior is happening. Super useful if you're working on migration, for example, to a tag management system. You come in here, you see this particular tag, it's loading both through my tag management system as well as still from the page source. Click on that stack trace, find that those instances where it's loading directly from that page source, and then export, and you'll have that list of pages where you can give to your development team or take yourself and go identify, okay, what template is this tag or this snippet still in, what page is it still on, to really speed up, expedite that removal process, and at the end of the day, have much cleaner data because you're not going to have any duplicates. The final part here is if you have again, a rule or a policy applied to your scan, the policy errors. You'll see there the actual raw number, which is going to show me how many policy errors are there. And this is also then going to summarize the results. So this particular policy, unauthorized tag example, it's a whitelist rule. I specified the tags that were allowed to be loading on this domain. And this is just flagging on any page that were not set to allowed and are actually loading. What this is going to then list is the tag name, description of the error, the page on which the error occurred, as well as the policy that was applied. So here I can see Crazy Egg, which was not set to allowed or required, so it was an unauthorized tag, was found to be loading on this particular page. Same idea, if I set something to required and it was not found, I'm going to see, okay, this tag set to required, not found on this particular page. So it really summarizes those results and provides in one simple place a list of all unauthorized behavior, be that missing tags or tags that shouldn't be on the site that are in fact loading. Last thing to point out here within the user interface, monthly scans, just to keep track of how many scans you've run thus far versus how many you have authorized and allowed to run on your account. You always have visibility into that here on the left side. One, it'll be a bar, which really illustrates it, but also it will tell you number of scans that you've run out of the total number of scans that you have available to run and what that looks like. You can also share any of these scan results. Click that share button. We'll provide this share URL. When you share this URL, this can be sent to anyone and they can view the results of a scan. They don't even have to have a Tag Inspector account, which can be extremely useful as you're trying to share these within your organization or with your partner agency, potentially, that is actually handling some of this development work and tag implementation work. that's everything that we're going to cover today here as far as getting started scanning and some of the basics of the scan reports and basics of the scan UI. If anyone has any questions, definitely drop them in that question pane. Like I mentioned, if you have any questions at all on your specific scan reports or any issues getting scans queued, be it through the UI or via API, don't hesitate to reach out. More than happy to help out in any way. And it doesn't look like we have any questions right now, which is fine. I'll go ahead and wrap this webinar up. As I mentioned, anything comes up, definitely reach out to us. Happy to help. Thank you all for joining today. Hopefully it was insightful, and happy scanning. Thanks.